Lights, camera,
Rolling.
action.
All right. Well, here we go. When I think of a safe place, I think of a strong place, right? So I think of a house as a safe place. I think of my family as a safe place because they're strong around me. I think of friends as a safe place because they got my back when I can't fight my own battles. Even right now at home, my team are fighting battles for me because I'm stranded from a distance. And so I think of safe places as structure. I think of them as walls. I think of them as comfort zones, So when I think the Lord is my refuge, I think of him as a safe place. He's got my back. He's got my future. I can go to him when I got nothing left in me, and I can rest in his presence, and it's a safe place to rest. It's not dangerous. No one's going to attack me when I'm in his presence. And so I really do believe that if people are listening to this now, and come on, we're just preaching what God can do through this. Psalm 62, he's my refuge. Therefore, when I'm with him, I'm okay. When I'm without him, I'm not. So here's a challenge to anyone out there. If you're feeling non-okay anywhere, it's a charge to get back in the presence of God, because therein lies the safety and the comfort of his refuge. Come on. What do you think of that, bro?
Starts 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Level up.
Hey, everybody. I just want to say, now you're getting into, Is it 3, 2, 1? What is it? Make up your mind, my brother.
Okay, I'm going to make up my mind now. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, everybody. Marbel Madondo here. I just want to say to everybody out there, God is love. I mean, obviously, I'm going to go with the love theme and just say God is love. There's so much love in God. And once you understand that, once his kingdom is established in you, nothing will bring you down. I mean, you could cry. I know I cry. I mean, I'm the most emotional person I know. But every time I cry to God, I always have a certain peace that comes through. And I also want to talk to the women who are going through so much. And I know that women have to sacrifice most of their careers. Women have to sacrifice most of the things they have to sacrifice. But lean on God. And I know that God will always give us wisdom. God always, there's not even a moment God does not speak to us. He speaks to us through anything. I mean, he uses anything to speak through us. And let's listen to God and let's follow what God has in store for us. So I just want to say, if you're going through a hard patch, just lean to God, lean towards God. Just put your whole self in God. And Jesus is coming soon. I mean, that song, Mazwajo, is more relevant now than any other time. Jesus is coming soon, so make it right with God, and just lean on God, and whatever happens, whatever comes around you is gonna face God. That's basically what I'm gonna say.
I love that. This is some deep theological verses. But I love that. I think that is just such a picture of what happens when we actually listen to what God says. And I think it's important for us to realize that there's a difference between listening and hearing. I think the verse says that those who hears my word and believes. And so on our end, we have two things that we've got to do. We actually have to hear what God says, but we actually have to listen to something for insight and belief. He promises us eternal life. He promises us that we can have all these riches and glory. And the way that we can receive that is on our part is to hear from him. So how do I hear from God? I've got to be still. I've got to listen. I have to be intentional about actually hearing what God says. And how do I believe? The way that I believe is to trust God at his word. I think the biggest thing that as young people, as young leaders, for us to understand is that our worth is found in who Christ is and in the finished work of Christ. A lot of times we equate, if I don't work hard enough in his finished work. And so my encouragement is to know that there's a God who loves you, who is for you, that even before you did one thing, that he's chosen to love you. So God's love for us has nothing to do with what we actually do, but it's because he simply loves us. And when we begin to view ourselves as loved before we have to work and view ourselves as loved before we have to do anything, we'll actually see the nature of God, and we'll see who he is as somebody who is for us, who loves us, who cares about us, who has great plans for us. And so in this generation, we don't have to worry or look to the left or look to the right of what our life will be. As long as we put our trust and our faith in God and we put one foot in front of the other, we will see that God's plan would be revealed. And his plan is a good plan. His plan is a perfect plan. What he has for us is better than what we can dream up of ourselves. So we don't have to compare ourselves to people. We don't have to try to live up to any other standard besides the one that God has already set for us. And so that encouragement is just for you to live your life knowing that you are loved. And I think that it changes your perspective when you're walking around from the place of, oh snap, I'm loved. It's not that I've got to work to be loved, but I'm already loved. And it does something different in the way that you see life. It does something different in your character and your nature. It does something different in how you perceive and how you behave when you know that you are living from a position of love and not having to work for love.
It would be, firstly, I want to tell you that there's absolutely nothing in this world you can't do. There's nothing holding you back except for what you believe, right? So whatever your dream is, somewhere inside of you is a why. We spoke a lot about why on this call. Somewhere inside you, there's a burning passion. And the only reason you're not doing it is because you have a belief attached to it that says, I can't, I'm not capable, I'm not good enough. Anything like that. But that really is the catalyst to your success as anything that you want to be, whether it's a speaker, an entrepreneur, a business owner, or whatever. So that's the first thing I would say. And then really go and dig deep. Make your why, make service instead of sales your driving force. And you're actually going to be one of those Martin Luther Kings and Oprahs and Richard Bransons and whoever else you look up to. And then lastly, what I would just say is find someone like that you can look up to, but don't look at them in awe of, wow, look at what they've done. I want the guys to rather look at them as a mirror that's mirroring back to you what you're capable of as well. Because if one can do it, we can all do it, because we've all been given exactly the same tools and capabilities internally to create the lives we want, the businesses we want, and really make a powerful impact in this world.